Arsenic is one of the most infamous elements on Earth. It's been used as a poison for centuries, woven into murder stories, warnings, and skull and crossbones labels. In biology, arsenic is supposed to be simple. It kills life by breaking the chemistry that keeps cells alive. And yet, in one of the most extreme environments on Earth, scientists found bacteria that don't just survive arsenic, they seem to depend on it. If that's true, then one of the most basic rules we use to define life may not actually be a rule at all. Why arsenic is supposed to be deadly. So arsenic is deadly not because it's exotic or rare, but because it's deceptively similar to something life depends on. In biology, one of the most essential elements is phosphorus. It forms the backbone of DNA, helps store and transfer energy through molecules like ATP, and holds cell membranes together. Without phosphorus, life as we know it simply doesn't function. Arsenic sits directly beneath phosphorus on the periodic table, which means it behaves in almost the same way chemically, and that's the problem. Cells can't always tell the difference. When arsenic enters a living system, it can slip into biochemical pathways meant for phosphorus, taking its place in DNA, ATP, and other vital molecules. But arsenic doesn't hold those structures together the way phosphorus does. Bonds involving arsenic are less stable. When arsenic replaces phosphorus, the molecule machinery of the cell begins to fall apart. DNA becomes unstable. Energy transfer breaks down. Cell membranes weaken. What looks like a small chemical substitution quickly becomes catastrophic. And this is why arsenic is so effective as a poison. It doesn't just attack cells from the outside, it sabotages them from within, exploiting the very chemistry that makes life possible. For decades, this made arsenic a textbook example of an element that life just cannot tolerate, a hard boundary, a clear rule. Or at least, that's what we thought. The Mono Lake discovery. In Eastern California, there's a place that looks almost hostile to life. Mono Lake is incredibly salty, highly alkaline, and naturally rich in arsenic. The kind of environment most organisms simply can't survive. It's the sort of place where biology is supposed to give up, but life didn't get the memo. In 2010, a team of scientists studying microbes in Mono Lake isolated a bacterium later named GFAJ1. What caught their attention wasn't just that it survived in arsenic-rich water, it was that the microbe seemed to thrive when phosphorus was scarce and arsenic was abundant. Under laboratory conditions, the bacteria were fed arsenic instead of phosphorus, and against expectations, they kept growing. The initial claim was staggering. The bacteria appeared to be incorporating arsenic into their biological molecules, possibly even their DNA, replacing phosphorus in places biology textbooks said not to be substituted. If true, it suggested that one of life's most fundamental chemical requirements might be flexible. The announcement sent shockwaves through the scientific community. NASA called it a potential breakthrough for astrobiology. Headlines declared the discovery of arsenic-based life. Suddenly, the definition of life itself felt unstable. But science doesn't stop at headlines. Other researchers quickly pushed back, questioning the methods and the conclusions. Follow-up studies showed that while GFAJ1 is extraordinarily tolerant of arsenic, it still relies on trace amounts of phosphorus to survive. The idea of arsenic fully replacing phosphorus in DNA was likely overstated. And yet, something important remained. These bacteria were doing things biology said should be impossible. They were surviving in arsenic concentrations that should have destroyed their cellular machinery. They were bending the rules, even if they weren't completely breaking them. For decades, biology treated certain elements as non-negotiable. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, fixed pillars of life. Mono Lake showed that at least some of those pillars can bend without collapsing. Extremophiles have been doing this quietly for years. Organisms living in boiling acid, frozen ice, crushing pressure, or toxic metals already stretch the boundaries of what we consider habitable. What arsenic-tolerant bacteria add to this picture is chemical adaptability, the ability of life to survive by navigating around poisons rather than being stopped by them. Life doesn't just endure harsh conditions, it rewires itself to function within them. This is why the phrase life as we know it is more dangerous than it sounds. It assumes that biology follows a single blueprint, one set of rules written in stone. But every discovery like this reveals those rules to be more like guidelines, shaped by Earth's history, chemistry, and chance. Life didn't evolve to match our definitions. We invented the definitions after the fact. Mono Lake didn't rewrite biology textbooks overnight, but it reminded us that our understanding of life is provisional, a snapshot, not a final answer. And if life can adapt to arsenic on Earth, it raises a rather unsettling possibility. Somewhere else in the universe, life may be thriving in ways we wouldn't even recognize as alive. So, what does this mean for alien life? My favorite topic. Discoveries like Mono Lake don't just change how we think about life on Earth, they expand what we consider possible in the universe. For decades, astrobiology assumed life needed familiar conditions: liquid water, moderate temperatures, and the same chemical rules that govern earthly biology. So that's carbon-based molecules, phosphorus in DNA, oxygen-friendly environments. Worlds that don't resemble Earth were often dismissed as inhospitable. But these arsenic-tolerant bacteria challenge that assumption. If life on Earth can survive and even adapt to chemistry that should be toxic, then life elsewhere may not need to follow Earth's rulebook at all. It may rely on different elements, exploit unusual chemical reactions, or thrive in extreme environments we once considered barren. Planets and moons once written off, arsenic-rich lakes, methane seas, subsurface oceans, could be teeming with forms of life that defy our expectations. Life can find a way even in the most unlikely places. And perhaps the most startling thought of all is that the universe might already be alive in ways we wouldn't recognize, waiting for us to finally see it.